Have you ever wondered what happens in those final moments when life slips away? I did too, until I experienced something that would change everything I thought I knew about death, life, and what lies beyond. In those precious moments between worlds, I encountered someone I never expected to meet, Princess Diana herself, and what she revealed to me about our existence and humanity's future left me questioning everything. I'm Amelia, and just 6 months ago, I was living what most would consider a successful life. At 38, I had everything society told me I should want. The corner office at a prestigious advertising firm in Manhattan, the sleek apartment overlooking Central Park, the carefully curated social media presence that made everyone believe I had it all figured out. But behind that polished facade, something was missing. A void that no promotion, no designer purchase, no amount of validation could fill. Looking back now, I realized the dreams were trying to tell me something. They started about 3 months before the accident. Vivid, recurring visions of a radiant figure surrounded by warm, golden light. I'd wake up with tears streaming down my face, feeling an inexplicable sense of loss and longing. But like everything else that didn't fit into my perfectly scheduled life, I pushed these feelings aside, drowning them in extra work, hours, and mindless distraction. The day everything changed started like any other. Except, there was this overwhelming sense of urgency that I couldn't shake. You know that feeling when you're certain something important is about to happen, but you can't quite put your finger on what? That's how I felt all day. My hands trembled as I poured my morning coffee. The sky seemed different somehow, darker, more ominous. Even my colleagues noticed something was off, asking if I was feeling all right. I remember checking my phone one last time before leaving the office. 8:47 p.m. Another late night at work, another delayed dinner, another excuse to avoid confronting the emptiness that had been growing inside me. The rain had started, not the gentle kind that makes you want to curl up with a book, but the angry sort that turns New York City into a blur of neon reflections and harsh shadows. I was only 3 blocks from my apartment when it happened. They say time slows down in moments like these, but that's not entirely true. Instead, everything becomes crystal clear, as if someone suddenly adjusted the focus on reality itself. I saw the taxi hydroplane through the red light. I felt my hands grip the steering wheel. I heard myself gasp. And then, but what happened next was something no one could have prepared me for. Something that would not only change my understanding of life and death, but would reveal shocking truths about our collective future. Princess Diana's message wasn't just for me. It was a warning, a prophecy that every single one of you needs to hear. Let me take you through exactly what happened when my consciousness crossed that threshold between life and death, and how a chance encounter with one of history's most beloved figures would reveal unprecedented insights about what awaits us all. They say your life flashes before your eyes when you're about to die, but that's not quite right. Instead, time seems to fold in on itself, like pages of a book being pressed together until all the moments touch. As my car spun out of control on that rain-slicked New York street, I felt myself becoming lighter, as if gravity itself was losing its hold on me. The crash itself was deafening. The screech of metal, the explosion of glass, the horrible symphony of destruction. But then, silence. The most profound silence I've ever experienced. I found myself floating above the wreckage, looking down at my own body slumped over the steering wheel. It should have been terrifying, but instead, I felt an inexplicable sense of peace wash over me. Emergency responders were arriving now, their lights casting eerie red and blue shadows through the rain, their voices muffled, as if coming from underwater. I watched them work on my body with a strange detachment, like observing a scene from a movie. Female, late 30s, no pulse. I heard someone say, the words should have frightened me, but they didn't. I was already being drawn somewhere else. That's when I noticed the light, not the harsh fluorescent street lamps or the flashing emergency vehicles, but something entirely different. It started as a pinpoint in the distance, like a star breaking through storm clouds. But it grew larger, or maybe I was moving toward it. The light had a quality I still struggle to describe. It was warm but not hot, bright but not blinding, and it seemed to pulse with its own consciousness. As I was drawn closer, the scenes of my life began playing around me, but not like a movie reel as others have described. Instead, they appeared as shimmering bubbles of memory, each one containing not just the visual record of a moment, but every emotion, every sensation, every unspoken thought. I saw myself as a child, full of dreams and wonder. I saw the moment I chose my career over my passion for helping others. I saw every time I ignored my intuition in favor of practical choices. The most painful memories were the ones with my sister Sarah. Her battle with depression, our last argument where I was too busy to really listen, the funeral I organized with mechanical efficiency because feeling the grief would have broken me. These moments weren't just replaying. They were being understood on a level my earthly mind never could have comprehended. Just when the weight of these revelations threatened to overwhelm me, everything shifted. The light that had been guiding me suddenly expanded, enveloping me in its radiance. And there, in that space beyond space and time beyond time, I saw her. At first I thought I was imagining things. Surely it couldn't be, but there was no mistaking that gentle smile, those kind eyes that had captivated millions. Princess Diana stood before me, more real and more alive than any photograph or video had ever captured her. What happened next would shake the very foundation of everything I believed about life, death, and the future that awaits us all. Because what Diana shared with me wasn't just a comforting message from beyond. It was a warning about what's coming and why humanity needs to prepare. She didn't speak at first. Instead, Diana smiled at me with such profound compassion that I felt tears forming. Though in this place, tears weren't quite physical things. She was radiant, wrapped in what looked like soft, flowing light, but also unmistakably herself. That famous warmth that had earned her the title, People's Princess, was magnified here, as if her true essence was finally free to shine without earthly constraints. "Amelia," she said, and her voice carried the same gentle strength I remembered from interviews, but with an added resonance that seemed to touch my very soul. "There's so much more to existence than what we can see from Earth's limited perspective." She reached out and took my hands in hers. The sensation was like being embraced by pure love. "But I'm not here just to offer comfort," she continued, her expression growing more serious. "There are things you need to know, things you need to share with others." As she spoke, the space around us shifted, and I began to see visions forming in the light that surrounded us. Every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, every choice we make ripples through eternity. But humanity has lost its way, becoming disconnected from these fundamental truths. The visions became clearer, showing me scenes from around the world, people walking past each other like shadows, their eyes locked on screens, their hearts closed to the pain of others. In 2027, Diana revealed, her voice carrying a weight that made me tremble, Earth will enter a period of profound transformation. The barriers between the physical and spiritual realms will begin to thin. But what she showed me next made my soul ache. I saw cities in chaos, natural disasters, unlike anything we've experienced before, and a humanity divided against itself. "The Earth itself will rebel," she explained, "through climate disruptions that will shake the foundations of society. But this isn't punishment, it's an awakening." The images shifted to show people coming together in the aftermath of these events, helping each other, rediscovering their shared humanity. "These challenges," Diana continued, "will force humanity to face its shadow self. The increasing frequency of supernatural experiences and unexplainable phenomena will make it impossible to ignore the spiritual dimension of existence any longer." She squeezed my hands tighter, and I felt the urgency in her touch. "But there's hope, Amelia. These trials can lead to humanity's greatest evolution. If people are prepared." The visions continued to unfold, showing me scenes of both darkness and light. I saw social structures crumbling under the weight of revealed truths, but also new forms of community rising from the ashes. I witnessed the pain of collective grief, but also the healing power of shared compassion. Each image was accompanied by waves of emotion, so intense that they would have overwhelmed me in my physical body. "Your return to Earth isn't just about survival," Diana said, her eyes now shimmering with an otherworldly wisdom. "You're being sent back with a message, a warning, and a mission." She showed me more visions, glimpses of potential futures that branched out like rivers from this crucial moment in time. Some were dark, filled with suffering and chaos. Others showed a humanity transformed, operating at a higher level of consciousness and connection. The choice, she explained, rests in how humanity responds to the coming changes. Will they turn against each other in fear, or will they recognize their fundamental interconnectedness? Will they cling to old paradigms of separation and materialism? Or will they embrace the spiritual awakening that's trying to emerge? I felt overwhelmed by the responsibility of carrying these messages back. But why me? I asked, my voice trembling with emotion. Why are you showing me all of this? Diana's smile returned, filled with both sadness and hope. Because you understand both worlds, Amelia. You've lived in the materialistic mindset that's driving humanity toward crisis. But you've also felt the emptiness it creates. Your near-death experience isn't just about your personal journey. It's about helping others prepare for what's coming. That's when the light around us began to pulse more intensely, and I could feel myself being pulled back. Diana's final words to me carried an urgency that still rings in my ears. Tell them, Amelia. Tell them that the time for spiritual awakening is now. The veil between worlds is thinning, and humanity must be ready for what's coming in 2027. Next thing I remember was the harsh fluorescent lights of the ICU, the steady beeping of monitors, and the feeling of being slammed back into my body, like a diver breaking the surface too quickly. The physical pain was intense, but it paled in comparison to the emotional weight of everything I'd just experienced. The doctors called it a miracle that I survived. They talked about the 7 minutes my heart had stopped, about the unexplainable readings on their machines, about how I shouldn't have made it. My mind was still swimming with Diana's prophecies, with the urgency of her message. Recovery was challenging, not just physically but spiritually. How do you return to normal life when you've glimpsed what lies beyond? How do you go about your daily routine when you carry the knowledge of what's coming? The visions Diana showed me remained crystal clear, not fading like dreams do, but becoming even sharper with each passing day. I started noticing things I'd been blind to before. The way people avoid eye contact on the streets, their souls crying out for connection, while their bodies move in practiced isolation. The subtle signs of our world preparing for the changes Diana warned about. Increasing reports of unexplainable phenomena, the growing sense of collective unease, the way children seem more spiritually aware than ever before. But here's what I've come to understand, and what I need you to know. This isn't just about preparing for some future event. It's about recognizing that every moment, every interaction, every choice we make right now is shaping the reality that's coming. When Diana spoke about the veil between worlds thinning, she wasn't just talking about supernatural experiences. She was talking about the barrier between who we are and who we could be. The prophecy about 2027 isn't meant to frighten us. It's a wake-up call. A chance to change course before we're forced to by circumstances beyond our control. Each of us has the power to influence which version of that future becomes reality. Every time we choose compassion over judgment, connection over isolation, or understanding over fear, we're helping to create the more positive future Diana showed me. I'm sharing this story now because time is growing short. The signs Diana warned me about are already appearing, and I can't stay silent any longer. She chose to show me these things for a reason, and now I'm choosing to share them with you. Not to create fear, but to inspire action. To remind you that you're not just a passive observer in this unfolding story. You're a crucial part of it. Think about it. Why did you feel drawn to watch this video? Why has my story resonated with you? Perhaps you've had your own unexplainable experiences, your own moments of sensing something greater than our everyday reality. You're not alone. More and more people are awakening to these deeper truths, feeling this call to transform. I want you to take a moment right now and ask yourself, what role will you play in this approaching transformation? How can you begin preparing, not just practically, but spiritually and emotionally, for the changes Diana warned are coming? Your answer to these questions matters more than you might realize. If my experience with Princess Diana taught me anything, it's that love isn't just an emotion. It's a force that transcends death itself. And when she spoke about every act of kindness reverberating through eternity, she wasn't speaking metaphorically. I felt it, I saw it. Every small gesture of compassion creates ripples that affect not just our world, but realms we can't even imagine. So here's my challenge to you. Don't wait for the changes to force us into awareness. Start now. Begin with something small. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you've lost touch with, or finally listening to that spiritual calling you've been ignored. Share your own experiences in the comments below. Let's create a community of people prepared to face these coming changes with open hearts and awakened spirits. Because in the end, that's what Diana's message was really about. Not just surviving what's coming, but helping to guide humanity toward its highest potential. And every single one of us has a part to play in that transformation. I see now why my life had to come so close to ending that rainy night in New York. Sometimes we need to lose everything we think we are to discover what we're meant to become. And if you're hearing this message, know that you too have a purpose in this unfolding story. The only question is, are you ready to embrace it?